All right, it's that time of day. I'm going to start off with a show of hands. I know everyone in here has been on an airplane, because that's how most of you got here. Who likes to have the window open when they're flying and look out while they're flying? Who doesn't? Yeah, I don't believe that, because, I mean, I believe you don't, but I don't believe that many people do, because certainly in my experience, and I fly a lot, the trend is for people to close the shades. And why do people close the shades? Because they want to see better on their little phone or iPad the movie that they just couldn't do without. And I don't know, for myself, when I fly and I look down, like one example is if you're approaching the Seattle airport from the north, you go right over my house, and if you're over my house, you're on a 5-mile final, so you're around 4,000 feet. And I look down on my neighborhood, and I see things that I never have the perspective to see when I'm driving around or when I'm cycling around the neighborhood. When I'm out in a route, say from Seattle to Chicago, I like to look down and say, is that Bozeman, Montana, or is it Butte? And I just like to look at another perspective of a world that I experience every day. So I get really upset, like, and there's kind of a protocol now, like, oh, should I open the window or not? And oh, the sun's going to come in, it's going to glare on their screen. So, but I remember in the good old days, most people kept the shades up. So next time you put the shade down, think of me, because I think it's a rare opportunity, if you think about it, to be able to see the world in another perspective, and I just always enjoyed it. But that's not what I came up here to say anyway. Came up here to say goodbye. First, I want to thank Ariel and the GeoField team for putting this together. As the donor to a lot of these conferences, I have the luxury of not doing a lot of the work before I get here, and I know there's so much work that goes into it, so I really appreciate that. I'd like to thank everyone that's here, especially those who the foundation supported to get here. Actually, one of my favorite things about my job is I get to bring people to these things. This is the 4th time I've been in Rome this year for a meeting, and each time I've sponsored at least 40 individuals, and each time the bus hasn't showed up. So I'm keeping up with the trend, but I do appreciate you coming here. And my one ask of you would be that when you go back to your respective institutions, offices, homes, please share some of the things that you learned here. That way we get sort of a multiplier effect, because we're a relatively small group here, but there's a tremendous number of people out there that are interested in this topic and could benefit from you sharing some of your insights from this event. I also met some people, especially last night at the reception, when you're up on the 8th floor and you see a good part of Rome, who had never been to Rome before. And you could listen to the excitement and know that was an experience that they were gaining above and beyond the people they'd met here during the week and the information that they've taken in. So it's a rare opportunity. It's a costly opportunity, but I'm glad we're able to do that. When we made the GeoFields grant, Ariel, I think we even said as we were making the grant, this is sort of uncharted territory. We're not the first to do this, but there's not a lot of impact evaluations that are incorporating Earth observation. So we knew that this was rather nascent, and at least I expected this first community of practice to be maybe a little bit all over the place, because I think that's where we are, and people are coming with so many different perspectives, and we're not quite unified yet. I'm excited that this is not the last time we're going to meet. We hope to make this type of thing an annual event, and I think as we do, I've run community of practices before in other grants, and they mature rather quickly, but they don't start off mature. So I think we'll see as we go forward people coming together, whether you're a data scientist or an Earth observation specialist or an evaluator or even a donor. But you know, listening to people this week and stuff gives me a lot of confidence that I think we're on the right track. And I'm so happy you could come and be here, and look forward to seeing you again and hearing from you and getting feedback as to maybe what you thought of this event and your ideas about how we can move forward. So that's it. Thank you.
Kunwar has very kindly ceded his time back as just one indication of how much excitement we clearly have. We've busted through the schedule most days. We definitely could have been here for another couple days. Maybe that welcome slide that briefly reiterated like that Groundhog Day effect. Sorry, we could have redo this all over again with yet more presentations and lots of comments. So please keep that up. I just want to say some thank yous because there was a lot of hard work that went into this, and mine was the least of it. So can I just ask you to briefly stand up? Ana Paula de los Campos from FAO, you can stand up. And behind the scenes also, your colleague Roberta Fabrina, who's not here, please do extend her our thanks and gratitude for the amazing amount of patience they've shown as we've tried to coordinate bringing people from all over the world to Rome. Also on our AidData and Dev Global teams and Mercy Corps teams, there's been a tremendous amount of effort, as you can tell. I just want to give some very brief specific shout outs to Courtney and Nicole and Jessica. Can you guys stand up for 1 minute, please? A lot of the logistics for pulling this off was pulled off by these folks. There were a lot of other people too, Kunwar, James, you've already met Carly, Rachel, Kathy, Brad, and Hannah too. Lots of effort on that. I just want to say thanks. The Gates Foundation has put a lot of very different types of money into this in lots of different ways, including by actually suggesting many of you who we did not interact with before and are now part of a broader community. So really thanks, Richard, for all the support. Appreciate it. A couple of things about where we go from here. I think more broadly, our aspirations are relatively clear, but hopefully some more concrete next steps. Many of you have already hopefully started new collaborations here as a result of this. Hopefully there's been some informal matchmaking. I've certainly observed some of it over coffee and drinks and breaks. We want that to keep going. We're going to be reaching out to you with some opportunities, some of which we've already referenced. There'll definitely be some opportunities for feedback on this event and surveying. We wouldn't be, evaluators if we didn't ask you your opinion. Don't worry, we did not, sorry, did I mess that up? Thanks. We did not geotag you so that we could observe you remotely. That idea had occurred to me at a certain point rather than just surveying you, or we could spam you on your text phones. But so we definitely want your feedback. We're also going to send you some opportunities to give us more ideas for these longer term impact cases. As I've said before, we have lots of ideas percolating already. There are clearly going to be way more ideas than our team, our GeoField team, is going to be able to support directly. And our goal is to be able to do some informal matchmaking, if you will, to try to suggest other partners like those in the room and online to maybe make some of those collaborations happen where we might not have the capacity or expertise for that. So maybe you didn't know this was a setup when we invited you here, but in many ways, we're hoping that you guys can work together as well as with us. I think it's not lost on anyone that no one organization here really has the ability to pull any of these things off on our own. I didn't see a single sole authored paper, by the way, that was presented, and that is indicative of the need for that multidisciplinary cooperation that we need to have. So if you haven't already done that matchmaking for new ideas, please send them to us when we ask you for them, and we'll try to make some suggestions if we can't help you ourselves of who else might be able to do that. I want to anchor some goals, though, for us and some deadlines. Yesterday, I mentioned these special issues that we're putting out, so that maybe can be one goal by next summer. Some of these collaborations can be working papers that you could submit to these special issues. You know, because these are multidisciplinary collaborations, you can think about some of these projects creating offshoots that go into an economics journal and those that go into a remote sensing journal, and we're certainly happy to help think about other outlets for that as well. But that's at least kind of a deadline for these collaborations to focus on. I do want to echo some of the things that were said in the last session, especially about who's not in the room today for the most part, right? And especially partners and policymakers from national governments that are not here, and farmers themselves. And so that's really the deeper goal, of course, beyond next summer when, you know, and our end goal is not these special issue publications, right? It's being able to have conversations with those folks, bring them into this work, and also, you know, benefit, obviously, those folks. And so the deeper goal is in the future, when Richard is helping arrange for transportation and buses at a future convening, that those are the people who are coming to one of our panels to talk about the impacts that they are now seeing on their lives and in their policy making through this integration. So that's kind of that longer term vision of hopefully where we go. And you know, I think that the biggest thing for me is that this is now a community, right? These people that you've met and the people that are online interacting with us, and it will get more involved as time goes on, right? We are a community, and that means we have responsibilities and benefits to each other. And so I really, again, appreciate the spirit that you all have really embarked on. I think at certain points, almost everybody, I'm sure, has been mildly offended by something that a person from another discipline maybe kind of inadvertently, you know, dismissively, you know, mentioned that something in their work was simply easy to do. And uniformly, I've seen people react with grace to that, and kindness and openness. So that is the real spirit, I think, in which a community operates. So I really appreciate that, and I'm sure you're going to keep doing that. Okay, I think that's all we need to say. Please, safe travels home, and look out, you know, in your inboxes for lots more stuff from us. Feel free to send lots of things to us. Our team is, you know, as you can imagine, a little exhausted, but we'll surely respond in due time. Thank you all for coming, and see you soon.